Hello everyone, this is Angela and welcome to my channel, Angie the ENTJ. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and to click on the notifications bell so that you'll know whenever I upload any new content. I was watching one of Shayna Khan's videos where she reacted to a TikToker who was exposing the manosphere and conservative men and the fact that they are switching it up, that they are migrating into liberal spaces, because conservative men are having a hard time finding women who are willing to date them. So conservative men are lying and pretending to be liberal for a date. Also, she talks about how podcasters are starting to ease their way over here with their pandering and their grifting, and they're shifting up their content. Let's watch the brief video and then I will be back.
Ladies, this is not a drill. The men are grifting. The men are in the middle of a migration. The he-man-woman haters of TikTok are slowly switching up their content. They are slowly switching up their content. Another mutual and I were having a conversation in the DMs talking about, have you noticed? And then another mutual of mine made a video today talking about it. And I'm just like, I've been noticing it, but I'm just like, at first, I just kind of chalked it up to the conversation or the topic at hand that they were talking about was so common sense that the only side to be on was the woman's side. The only side to be on in the discussion was the woman's side. But I'm seeing a pattern. A pattern is beginning to emerge. And to that I say, you can't trick me. You can't trick me. I see y'all. Ladies, before y'all get to double tapping, before y'all get too excited, go watch his old videos. Go watch his old videos. Because here's my thing, right? I'm not saying that people cannot grow and learn and switch their position, reshape their thinking, right? But I think along with reshaping your thinking and your perspective, and changing your stance on certain subject, you need to address that change, right? For me, this is my personal opinion, right? So if I have an ideology that I've been steadfast and I've been double, triple downing on before, and then one day I'm presented with new information that now causes me to rethink my position, I'm going to say, you know what, y'all? I used to believe this and this thing opened my eyes and now I see the error in my ways. But that's not happening. They're just tiptoe. They just creeping in like, did they see us? And they're going to come in, they're going to sit down, they're going to pour themselves a glass of wine. They're going to fucking cross their legs and act like they've been in here the whole fucking time. Don't be fooled.
Okay, I'm back. So her observations were absolutely correct. I even spoke about this nearly 2 years ago when I uploaded videos about my own personal participation in the natural hair movement over 25 years ago and how the colorist, featurist, and misogynistic males within Blackistan suddenly switched it up on their own version, their own variation on centuries worth of centuries of embedded white supremacist norms, the colorism and the featurism and the misogyny. And they did it not due to having an epiphany and due to wanting to become better human beings, but they did so in order to maintain access to the very women who they often harassed mistreated, and traumatized. I will show you a brief snippet of when I spoke about them switching it up back then, and then I'll be back. These males, back then, more than 25 years ago, began to realize that they could not run that game on black women anymore. He couldn't go to the Halle Berrys and the Lila Rashans and tell them that they were too skinny, and that when they spoke up for themselves, because he done did some nonsense, that they're beginning to act more like black women, meaning darker skin, type 4 hair black women, the masculines. So they claim that we are, right? When they realized that they were also losing access to the same quote unquote masculine black women, the darker, unambiguous black woman with type 4 hair, and worse, that there were non-black men who were marrying them, treating them like ladies, and actually treating them like women and wives. That, y'all, that's when the black male switched up and started worshiping dark-skinned, natural hair black women. And they even went so far as to start attacking the very preferences that they used to worship. They were going over there, oh, your skin is too light. Oh, you ain't thick enough in the hips. Your hair texture is too loose. They switched it up. And see, none of these black males knew about the AOL group and did not realize that we understood their game from all angles. And we would often laugh about the irony of it all. I mean, my goodness, I was there to witness it, and I still can't believe it. How they switched up.
You can't trick me.
Okay, I'm back with my commentary. Part of the reason why I uploaded videos about my participation in the natural hair movement was to provide validity to our collective observations of events like this, like the switch up, okay? Because it happened back then, and now it's conservative men who are doing the switching up. These people who were hardcore into the manosphere and became hardcore MAGA, they're switching it up and they're migrating into liberal spaces. That's because the first thing that our opposition will do is to deny their behaviors. Okay? That's why I created videos all those years back, because I knew this was coming. And you see, it is possible for them to get away with it if we're not careful, because the switch up maneuver is something that takes years to see it for what it really is. Plus, in addition to that, many of us have been conditioned to be forgiving and to offer second, third, 40th, 500th chances to someone who hates us while calling it compassion. So in a state of an emergency, what the patriarchy and their supporters will do is use the switch up in order to regain access to our resources. It's not too different than a bad relationship where the woman is fed up and she leaves. And then what happens, y'all? Suddenly, the guy shows up with a bouquet of flowers while claiming he's a changed man. He's doing all the things that she had asked him to do who knows how many times. Now, all of a sudden, he's willing to do those things because he's a changed man, right? No, he's not. He's a broke, dusty, and he couldn't wing it on his own. And rather than embrace manhood and grow properly, he runs back behind her skirt in order to hide from reality. This is part of the reason why experts say that it takes abuse victims 7 attempts before they finally leave their abusers. You know why? It's not because she's stupid. It's not because she's dumb. Okay? It's because these people switch up on her. They keep switching up and she buys it, thinking that this person is genuine. No, they're not. And that's the reason why it takes them 7 attempts, because it takes them 7 times to realize this fool is lying to them. And it also takes years for her or us collectively If we want to talk about demographics, okay? It takes years for us to get to the point where we decide that we are going to change for the better. And then it takes even more years to go through that process, to go through those changes. Think about it. Think about it. You're a woman in a terrible relationship who has been brainwashed via social norms and religion to, quote, work on it. With someone who has also been brainwashed by the same society and the same religion and social norms to believe that on virtue of a male reproductive organ, that he is always right, or he's the most right, he comes first, and he's the leader, regardless of any other reality at play. That doesn't matter. That's at the top of his forehead, okay? And in the eyes of this society and these social and religious norms, meanwhile, she's supposed to play the part of the emotional little sidekick, right? So if anything goes wrong, even when he's the one that causes it, it's kind of like it's her fault. So what does she do? She works on something that she's not causing, but she works on it because she wants better. So she cooks better. She cleans better. She doesn't complain. She wears makeup. She does everything. She rides him into the sunset. Yeehaw, when that time comes at 2 a.m. She does everything right and tries to appeal to him. And of course, it does not work because in his mind, he believes that she's just being hormonal and emotional. He thinks it's cute, her attempts to try to make him be a better person towards her. Think about it. This happens a lot. He laughs her off. He dismisses her. Then finally the day comes. She begins to think for herself. And she decides that she is going to have better for herself, even if and when it means leaving him behind. So it takes years for us as individuals and as a demographic within the society to get to that point, right? Now, that's us collectively. Meanwhile, those who are privileged, in this case, in this scenario, it will be conservative male followers of the manosphere, they have absolutely no incentive to budge because their lives are fine, even if the women are being unalived through miscarriages, because in their mind, women are dispendable. There's an unlimited supply of us. There are more of us than this is what they believe, despite the numbers. There are more of us than there are of them, right? Because this is what their patriarchy has taught them. Just so. Who cares if the woman is unalive through miscarriage? Go get another one. And what about those who are forced to give birth to babies created by someone who intimately assaulted them, SA? They don't care about that. Lock her up for having a miscarriage. It does not matter to them that we're paying the pink tax or that we're suffering through the motherhood penalty or the fact that we do not have our full autonomy, but are equally expected to pay taxes if and when we work. None of that matters to those who are privileged, which in this case are the conservative males that I'm talking about. So long as they have access to the womb and the unpaid care work of women, then what we are collectively facing and even its impact on the nation does not faze them at all. Because to them, their blue balls are getting emptied and their eggplants are wet. So it's not until the women cut off access to the unpaid care work and to the meow, the kitty cat, and our wombs, that these same conservative males will do whatever it takes to regain entry. Notice, I said that their goal was to regain entry. It is not to reform and to become better people, regardless of if they are in a relationship or not. It's just to get back to their version of normal. So they will lie, just like they are doing now to get dates. They will lie and pretend to be Democratic. They will lie and pretend to be liberal and left-leaning. This is why I put some of the videos about it back then, because now the opposition does not have the ability to deny their behaviors. Back in 2023, when I spoke about the switch up, we did not know that Kamala Harris would run for the presidency, nor did we know about the outcome of the 2024 election as well as the gray rocking of 92% of black women from all of this fiasco, as well as the gray rocking of other demographics in support of our side of things against these conservatives. See, these conservatives didn't know that they were going to get gray rocked. However, we did know how the males behaved once their access to women and our vajayjays were cut off. Also, I was the first one to point it out within this niche of social media about there being more than 70 million surplus men and boys on the planet. 70 million more than there are women and girls. And in case the global male mating competition heats up a little bit further and they try to revise this fact, I have screenshots included in those videos too. Because when you go on to the United Nations Human Development Index, you'll see two rankings in the same spot of 20. It goes, 19, 20, 20, and then 22. Instead of 19, 20, 21, 22, it goes 19, 20, 20, and 22. You know why? Because the U.S. is number 21. But I remember saying that we can no longer say that we're in the top 20 anymore. And then shortly after I made a video about that, there were 2 spots for number 20. Imagine that. So if this male mating competition heats up and they try to change reality from the truth, okay, there are screenshots in those videos. Because see, the patriarchy has failed globally, with the end result being too many men and not enough women left for them to date, marry, and procreate with. This is why number 47 is talking about annexing entire nations that just so happen to offer universal social benefits to their citizens. You see, if you look around the world, in general, people want better, they want more, and they want to enjoy a higher standard of living and a better quality of life. With a 70 million surplus of men and boys, 50 million of whom are currently adults right now, the patriarchy is scrambling so hard to keep up their illusion. This is also why they tolerated the manosphere, Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, and so forth. Because it kept this 50 million surplus of guys busy, even if it meant allowing them to be misogynist. So long as they're attacking us women, it meant not attacking the patriarchal leaders. So let me give y'all a little bit more insight. Think about it. You have these conservative communities where they're accustomed to people being married by a certain age. And that by a certain age and stage, they should have children, they should have families going, and so on and so forth, right? Well, these communities are starting to notice that their prospects for women that want to marry into their communities, they're drying up due to internal conflicts. In other words, the women would rather stay single and child-free than to be attached to a male via marriage who behaves like an overgrown toddler and drains her of her time, her energy, and her resources. And bear in mind, I'm married while I'm saying this. Yes, I have a happy marriage, but listen, I'm not up here pretending that my situation is the social norm. No, it's not. Trust me when I say it that I know that I'm lucky. I got the luck of the draw. And I do not blame women who are saying no to this entire fiasco. I went on that tangent only to say that the switch up is not because the conservative men have finally, they've become empathetic people who understand that all humans have rights. No, they are looking for their beards behind our skirts. That's what it is. In other words, they are attempting to use us women as a way to show their masculinity in the eyes of patriarchy at our expense. The best thing to do, y'all, is to keep on rejecting them. And also, especially if you are a woman or you have daughters, nieces, girl, cousins, and especially If you have any vulnerable relatives that are living with special needs, especially intellectual special needs, listen, women are a scarcity on the planet. Conservative men are not the only people who want to take advantage of women, our wombs, and our unpaid labor. So do their families. Yes, their families want grandbabies to validate them within their conservative societies as being normal. See, they want to seem like they are normal within the context of their society, and that means having a lineage, and the proof of the lineage is the grandbaby. There are already stories of parents giving money to their adult sons and access to their vehicles and their resources in order to prop them up to look good when they go out on a date with a woman. So they're making him look like a bigger man than what he is. It's because they want grandbabies, even when their sons are broke and unemployed dusties. These are the type of parents that will turn a blind eye to him and his shenanigans with women just so that he can secure a grandchild for them. It does not matter who the woman is, or for some of them, even if she hasn't fully developed into a woman, she's underage, meaning she's still a girl. That does not matter for them either. And for some of them, if she has an intellectual disability, all the more the better, because she will not have the capacity to understand the scam they are running on her. So if you are a woman or you are close to women and girls, especially those who are vulnerable, listen, put everybody on high alert. These conservative men are switching it up, and they are willing to lie. They are willing to do whatever it takes to access a womb. They are weaponizing marriage by proposing much sooner than what they used to. And the only reason why they're doing it is because in their mind, this makes it harder for them to break up. So when they start up their ish and you walk out, they can divorce you, they can take half of your belongings, all this other stuff. You see, 5 years ago, manosphere men were laughing about proposing to women. They didn't want women like that. They were being picky. Now they're over here migrating, right? But several years back, they weren't interested in marriage. They laughed it off. Or they would sit up there and proudly boast about the crap that all the women would have to do to prove their worth as a woman to him in order to convince him to pick her. That's how they were talking. But now here we are in 2025. They've been gray rocked. Don't nobody want anything to do with them. We can figure out how they voted. And because of that, now they're offering the ring on the fourth date. Some of them on the first date. And for the women who are unfortunate enough to come across a conservative man who has switched it up, the first thing that I'm going to listen to, do not confront him. We want to leave them in their stupor and their cluelessness so that they will be able to expose themselves more easily. When you figure out that he done switched it up, just say okay to him and his family or friends. Just say okay to all of them who are converging together to try to trick you into being a free surrogate, into being a slave to their family. Okay? Just say okay to them and walk away. Matter of fact, run. Sprint.
Well, first of all, Lisa, do you consent to a second date?
Do I have a last question that I can ask?
Sure.
Okay, plot twist.
Let's go for it.
It's like bonus rounds.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for the Trump cabinet. But with that comes a lot of things, like a cabinet that has...
A cabinet? I can't! Oh, heart is broken. I enjoyed my evening with you, but I have to stick to my morals and my principles. In democracy.
What a plot twist.
The crowd has turned into Jerry Springer up in here. This is hilarious.
Fight.
All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much.
So welcome.
Listen, everyone's got to stick to what they believe in.
Whoa. Plot twist.
Eric, are you surprised with how this went?
Not really.
No? Were you expecting something like this?
I kind of seem like they were all on the other side.
You can't trick me. You can't trick me.
We women, we have always been the prize. And now we are also a scarcity on top of it. In addition to that, more older women over the age of 40 have given birth to babies than teen girls for the first time in history. Recent history, at least. From an economic standpoint, this means that the children born to older women will most likely become educated entrepreneurs with complex technical skills, as opposed to being employed as a burger flipper at an establishment owned by conservative families. This is why they're panicking about the birth rates. This also means that poverty will reduce. More siblings will know each other because the guy with the community peen can't run his nonsense game on an older woman the way that he can do it on younger women who don't know any better yet. I'm not maligning younger women, but in all fairness, a 39-year-old has been an adult for 21 years versus a 19-year-old who's only been an adult for 1 year. So, the community peen can run game on somebody who hasn't had as much experience as an adult versus someone who's lived 21 years of their life so far as an adult. The uptick in older women having babies over the age of 40 also means that there will be more cohesive family units where her children, as adult siblings especially, will establish businesses and possibly form cooperatives with other sibling or other adult sibling groups. The United Nations Human Development Index provides proof of what happens when mature women who are established via their finances, via their education, who have built up resources and things like that, who have good health and have a good quality of life, what happens when they become mothers. And this scares the living daylights out of the manosphere and the patriarchy because they are afraid that their followers will turn on them. Which is why I felt the need to put this video up, giving my commentary on the switch up, because I want them to turn on the manosphere and the patriarchy. It's insidious what they're doing. They got these guys out here convinced that they can get a woman anytime they decide to, when the matter of the fact is, even if you were to pair up all adult men and all adult women, there would be millions of more men left over. Yes. And bear in mind, not all women want to be in relationships. Not all women are straight. Okay? So the dating pool is reducing. So that's why I'm putting up this video, giving my commentary on the switch up. Listen, the switch up is very real. I spoke about it nearly 2 years ago. Don't fall for it. If you are a woman listening, look at it the way that they look at you and act accordingly. See, let me give you some insight. You see, think about it. Even if you are an uneducated and unemployed woman, the reality is within this society, from an economic perspective, you perform over $200,000 worth of unpaid care work each year. Okay, all of that cooking, all of that cleaning, all of that vacuuming and dusting, all of those school runs for the children. Okay, all of those appointment settings, listening to him and trying to understand why this hurts or what's going on and giving him insight. All of that, everything that you do, if you were to place a value on it, will be well over $200,000 a year. Combine that with having a womb for him to access and where you can push out a legacy for him. See, that makes you a very valuable resource. Bear in mind, I said you're not working and you're not educated. And there's nothing wrong with being a housewife or not working. And I'm not maligning people who are not educated. You don't know people's stories. But what I am saying is, because this society see these people as the lowest of the low. So even if you're the lowest of the low, in quotes, as a woman, you're worth over $200,000 just to start. So you need to see yourself the way that they see you so that you'll know what they're up to. And bear in mind, if you are educated or you have some valuable technical experience, if you are an entrepreneur, go down the list. Your unpaid care work is even more valuable. And educated women especially tend to do more of it. So, of course, when he sees you, these conservative males, they see within 5 years, you're giving them about $1 million worth of effort. So, of course, he will lie to have access to you. He will lie to have access to your daughters or your other female relatives. So here's what you do, especially if you're trying to protect your relatives. If you really want to get them shook, these conservative males that are migrating and they're trying to date them, date your daughter, date your female relatives, or if you're a woman, they're trying to date you. Ask them this, especially when they begin to talk about marriage and having children. Just ask them, since you already know that you want to have a family and children, how much have you saved, at least within the past 5 years, towards those upcoming expenses? Just ask them that, y'all. Just ask them that. How much have you saved within the past 5 years? You're not asking him to tell you how much money he got in his bank account. You're just asking him how much money has he saved up within the past 5 years towards those upcoming expenses. Then watch him stammer over his words. Because these conservative people, especially the men, beyond trashing women's rights, they wanted a country without a government, basically. Which a country without a government is basically the definition of a lawless third world country. This means that everything has to be paid out of pocket. So with the cost of an average home being over $400,000 in most parts of the U.S., with the cost of an average wedding being well north of $30,000, okay, the cost of raising each child from birth to age 18 is well above $300,000 per child. This means that if he wants a family with a wife and just 2 children, I haven't even talked about the dog, okay? He's looking at having to pay well above $500,000 within 18 years. And that does not include vacations, emergency room visits, college tuition, and or dorm fees either. So, you see, they got what they wanted in terms of the type of nation that they voted for. And now, as a bonus, they literally have to pay for everything out of pocket on top of the pressure that they have to deal with to convince women to even like them in the first place. So ask them how much money they've saved up so far. And I'll say this with confidence, ladies, as well as relatives, co-workers, friends of women. If you have female relatives, especially female relatives who are dating, give these dudes hell. Give them and their conniving families hell. If they hate women and they see us as nothing more than workhorses to exploit, then they do not deserve us, plain and simple. We have bodies in graves over here because of them. Since they voted against our rights, They also voted in favor of their own extension, one dry peen day at a time. That is their problem. It is not ours. Let them stay over there in their conservative abyss. That's all that I have to say for now. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so that you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Take care until next time.